Well, Ben, a week into the club's first Football League season, how have you found it so far?
Yeah, it's been challenging. Obviously, boys are adapting to full-time training, trying to get the most out of our training sessions to prepare for a game. We found that the preparation leading into the games, the first three so far, obviously been challenging. Obviously, 3 away games, which is obviously tough to go to away grounds anyway. So to try and put in some preparation so that we can go and match them, try and be good to go and get a win, go and get a draw, get a point away from home is always a good result and a good start to the season. So
looking at Saturday's game at Salford, we were under pressure for quite a lot of it. As a centre back, is that sort of game in a strange sort of way you enjoy playing in?
Yeah, because you seem to get more to do. Sometimes I know, obviously, as a defender, you don't actually want more to do, just because you're always under pressure. You're always getting balls in the box, so you've got to defend, clearances, etc. But they were a tough side. They moved the ball around well. Hard to break down when we were trying to counter. Sloppy at times, but it was a difficult game to obviously try and defend against. But a point on the board.
Towards the end, we were under pressure, and there was that incident just before the end when I think it was the Salford striker went over under your challenge. When you heard the whistle blow, were you just worried for a moment?
Yeah, your heart does sink a little bit when you get in that sort of situation. But I know I didn't touch him. He knew it as well. He looked up and laughed at me. So it was one of those ones where sort of last couple of minutes of the game where you're trying to buy yourself a point or buy yourself a win in their circumstance. So I can see why he done it, but your heart does sink at that moment, and hope the refs don't point to the spot.
And just after that, you had to get yourself in the way of another one just before the final whistle.
Yeah, obviously, like we sort of mentioned a minute ago, obviously we were defending for sort of periods of the game where we were putting bodies on the line all round, not just me. So the whole back four and the whole team are putting their body on the line to make sure that we're getting that first point on the board, and we managed to do so. Yeah. So no, obviously the vital block, and we made vital blocks throughout the team, so which was good to see.
Must have been very satisfying as a team to get into the dressing room with that point against one of the sides that are sort of fancy to be up there at the end of the season.
Yeah, obviously with Forest Green first game of the season, we felt like we matched them to a degree. Felt like we could have got something out of the game, or if not more. So to get a first point against Salford, both of them teams will be fighting up at the top end, definitely in the playoffs, and could end up winning it themselves out of them too. So to get those 2 away games out of the way with 1 point out of the 2, I think we'll be proud of ourselves that we can go and match a team like that, and hopefully throughout the season we can go and match other teams.
And the Forest Green result's been put into perspective a little bit, because they've won their subsequent 2 games away from home. So
yeah, obviously first game of the season, we've obviously tried to go there and get a win. And obviously we weren't too far away from at least getting a point out of the game. But it's good that we can go to these teams. We're not afraid of anyone, and we can go and match teams and challenge to go and get a point or 2 away from home or 3 away from home. So it's not the case that we don't fear anyone, because we don't. We try and go there and match them and put on a good performance to go and get the points.
Between those, you had the championship side, Cardiff, and the Carabao Cup, and again gave a really good account of ourselves.
Yeah, definitely. It was a good test for ourselves. Obviously, we feel there was areas in their game that we could, or in their team, that we could try and exploit. Areas in the pitch we try to obviously get in behind them, and obviously we've done that in the first 4 minutes, and we were doing well first half. Obviously, we're going to the half time, maybe 1-0 is a different outcome maybe in the second half. So I thought overall we done very well, and I think we made a good account of ourselves.
As a centre back, when you see that Kiefer Moore's been named in the side for Cardiff, were you pleased about that, because you want to pitch yourself against the best?
Yeah, obviously.
Played in Euro 2020.
Yeah, obviously he's a tough opponent. I think for any centre half, obviously he likes the ugly side of the game. So you got to try and go and match him physically, or just find ways around it, and maybe drop off and let the centre midfielder go and win a couple, and you pick up the pieces behind and then get on the ball and try and set up a counter. So there's loads of different ways that we can work against sort of different centre forwards. But yeah, obviously he's gone and played in the Euros and for Wales, and but yeah, it was a tough ask, and I think, but as a team, I think we dealt with it well, and he didn't really have a sniff.
And with the exception of the Barnet game at the end of last season, it's the first time last week you've played away games for a long time in front of a crowd. What difference has it made? Away from home more, with sort of obviously the majority of the crowd being in favour of the home team.
Yeah, obviously with crowds being back, it's good to have an atmosphere. It's good to have the sort of environment of not just your own voice. It's good to hear other voices. Sometimes it if you're tired, say in a game last sort of 10 minutes, if you're under the cosh maybe, to have that crowd, it just gives you a bit of a boost, and to hear your support. With say the 3 away games so far, we hear our fans chanting and singing away, and it gives us that extra belief that we can go and match teams and fight till the end.
And Saturday away to Scunthorpe, another side still looking for their first win. Got a late equaliser last night. You've been sort of given your homework about them?
Yeah, obviously we'll do our preparation. The gaffer, Goody and the staff will do their preparation, so that we go into Friday when we come back in and train, so that we can set up and know how we're going to set up and break them down, and how to stop them on the attack and things like that. So to go and match them would be obviously a good outcome and get our first win. I think that would be good. But again, away from home, if we could just pick up a point against those, I think it'd be good for our league start for sure.
Brilliant. Thanks, Ben. We wish
you
all the best at Scunthorpe, and see you up there.
Perfect. Cheers. Thank you.
Bye.